Hello, my name is Justin Bright, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program version 1.3, in which I am attempting to make Kerbals a multiplanetary species. Through homesickness, apparently. But anyways, so as we're driving over here, I just wanted to start by talking a little bit about, I mentioned last time that things have been a little bit crazy for me. Things continue to be crazy, and I can talk a little bit about why. It's I just got a new job. I'm moving from a company I've been with for many years and going to work for Google as a technical writer. And I've also am moving apartments, so things have been a little bit busy and videos will remain a little sporadic. Alright, we are coming over the hill and we are greeted by a familiar sight. Another flag and a whole bunch more debris and little do-it-yourself container kits strewn about, ready to be constructed into base components. Okay, so we need to make sure that we can actually redeploy everything without having lost our Kerbals forever. So let's go ahead and turn this so that we get some sunlight. We may need to kind of reverse around in a big, or turn in a big circle so that the shorter end of the vessel is facing towards the sun. Fabulous. That way they get enough power to actually perform their construction. And we're going to break this, possibly break it. I hope we don't break it. And they have returned to duty. Fabulous. Start habitat. Fantastic. Hopefully that actually, means that they are actually working and there are no issues with that. So, before we get going, let's go ahead really quick. I want to check inventories. Okay, so Jorzy Kerman is going to jump out. I thought I had a screwdriver here, but it's not looking like I do. Am I, time warped? Oh my god, I was. That was weird. I was wondering why everything was acting so funky. But yeah, I just want to tear down these little decoupler rings that are on top of stuff. Clean up some of this debris. And disassemble part. Huzzah! 425 units of material kits. Fabulous. Which will flow into all these other things we have going on over here. So, and once again, disassemble part. One more vessel gotten rid of that we don't have to worry about. Let's actually jet on over here and clean up one last thing. I'd also like to clean up these ore holding stages, but we can hold on to do that in just a moment. Boom. Okay, last thing I'd like to check. Alright, so we are opening, not the workbench, but the construction window. We can see that we have a workforce of 15 out of 30, so we need to actually transfer one of our crew into the inflatable workshop so we get the maximum efficiency out of that. Wait for it. And reopen the construction window. Still says 15. Who all is in here? We have both Katie and Jorzy in here. Well, that's strange, but it seems to be fine, I guess, question mark. So let's go to the construction window, and we have the Duna Foundry and the refueling station are near us. I was wrong. The other vessel must be near the poles, unless that's it over there. Shoot. Well, let me drive over there and see. Nope, that appears to be the Duna Scorpion Constructor. This is the Duna Foundry, and this is the refueling station. So where the heck did I put the gosh darn power station? Okay, looks like we are now coming in on the power station. Thank goodness. So, I am out of electric charge. Fabulous. Okay, so we're out of power for all of this driving around we've been doing, which is less than great. Okay, so we're going to stay put here and try to deploy the packed construction kit. What does that mean, packed construction kit? Maybe it's because there's a thing on top of it. Alright, well, we're gaining a little bit of electric charge here. Maybe we can drive a little bit closer and get this thing properly unpacked. No, this eats so much power. Okay, it may just take me a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, we have finally made it, so let's go ahead and do a little bit of maintenance to make sure that everything's working before I save the game again. Where is everybody? I have everybody here? Everybody looks like they're tourists again. Okay, but I was able to get Jorzy out. Why is my time warp on again? That was really weird. Jorzy was able to get out, and it looks like, I mean, you're controllable, so that's, you know, a positive thing. So let's go ahead and disassemble these stack separators. Get them out of the way. Okay, I think it's either going to be this one or it's going to be this one over here. There, I've disassembled those two things. I just want to get this started at this point to just make sure that we are actually still working, because with the way that the habitat, oh dear, with the way that the habitat made them tourists for a minute, I want to make sure that that's not a permanent, like there's not something permanently broken that's going to leave us boned until we get the medical facility up and running. Yeah, so construction window, power station deploy. Which one is power station? Oh god, it's this one right here. Hopefully we're not too close. Can retract this ladder and drive away a little bit. Looks like we're probably going to be fine. Okay, while that's happening, as it turns out, I had forgotten to bring any additional connector ports, so I had to go in, build two inside the workshop, and now we are just getting these linked up so that I can actually access this huge pile of material kits. This is something that we're going to have to do at each one of these containers. Let's go ahead and climb inside, and now we have all sorts of material kits that we can use, and the do-it-yourself kit container is ready for construction. So let's open the ground construction window, which we still only have half of our possible workforce for some reason that I don't quite understand, but let's add it anyways and begin constructing the kit. Okie dokie. So I think maybe this is why the construction is not working properly, because it is we didn't actually have everybody in, so we've just moved in the workshop. So we just moved Cal Gal Kerman over to, and let's see, there we go. Now we got 30 out of 30. That's what we're looking for. Now we will get this done fairly quickly. Over the course of the next 2 days, we will be building up the power station, and hopefully by that point we will be able to nothing will, you know, be broken, or nothing will run out of power and nobody will be dead. That is kind of the hope. We're a little bit in the shadow here, so how are we doing on power? Looks like we are fine on power. That's awesome. Let's make sure that we are all set up. Looks good to me. Okay, cool. So we've got that moving, and in the list we just have the power station. So the refinery is also nearby, so we can get that deployed while we wait. All right, so the Candle Crane Lander. No, the Red Sands refinery has been set up and is ready to deploy and be built afterwards. So we can actually just go ahead and throw that on the list of things to build. So now I want to kind of take a look around. We have 45,000 material kits here. This is going to require 22. We have another container over there that I can pillage, I think, from here, which will be lovely, just lovely. Candle Crane Lander, material kits, yeah, okay, so that gives us 54,000, which is almost enough. I'm going to have to actually remember to come back and pillage the last of this box, because I believe, yeah, this is the one that has a little bit more of the material kits that we will need to build these two things. Yeah, so that's good. So we just have a couple things that we want to break down. So I think what I'm going to do now is we're going to bring over the supply rover and the engineer it contains, and we will then do some cleanup of this facility. All right, and as we're driving, we can kind of just see all of the bits and pieces we have running around here. So we see the supplies that we've left behind in the middle, another do-it-yourself kit, or at least a container. Here's the next set of base components that we're going to be building, and up on the hill you can see the expanded do-it-yourself kits that are being constructed currently. So we're going to clean these things up kind of one at a time. I may or may not actually go through and show you all the little individual clicky bits, but because you guys can kind of figure it out, I think, at this point. But yeah, we are just working our way through each of these things, trying to keep the part count relatively low, and also working to develop this infrastructure as quickly as we can to be safe for our Kerbals, because we don't want to run out of power and food and all these other things, and we need all these base structures to be to start running. So we're going to need all of our Kerbals to be kind of moved from place to place, and we need to have some engineers, like at least one engineer in each one, to run all of the machinery to maintain everything and make sure everything works. We also have a thing of we have the candle crane, which has the big box O machinery as well, which is something that we will be needing to kind of monitor and maintain. Alright, looks like I've already got some explosives. Alright, so we've emptied this thing out using local logistics, which is just wonderful. It's such a pain to have to connect pipes to everything to do any kind of fuel and materials transfer. Like, I get the need for it in a lot of locations, and it's good that it doesn't work in space, but on the ground here, I feel like it really makes sense to be able to just kind of automate that and not have to worry about it. But we have emptied this thing out of all of its material kits, or not material kits, but its ore and its monopropellant, stuffed that into the our supply rover, which is good. And now we just surface attach this explosive. Ooh, don't fly away. That was a little weird. And we are going to recycle the vessel, not demolish. There is, in fact, a difference. It pauses for a moment, and there we get a whole bunch of material kits. Delightful. And then we can disassemble this as well. Every piece of debris counts. Beautiful. All right, so we have nothing more to do about this. We are all hunkered down. We've got everything cleaned up as far as we can. This one has a whole bunch more ore in it, which I'm going to save for the candle crane, I think. And I also might have a little bit of additional room in this refinery to actually store ore. Hopefully that would be a helpful thing. That way I don't have to worry about having all these little extra vessels and containers around. So yeah, we are going to get that taken care of, and we are going to do some time warping. Okay, one day later we return with the sun risen nice and high, so that we actually have a little bit of electric charge in our rover here, and hopefully everybody's doing well overnight. And so now it is time to save the game! And with that done, we can launch the power station. Alright, so we have launched the power station. Now let's get our engineer in there so that we can start the power generation of this this vessel and get everything deployed and make sure that all of our other base facilities can actually use the power that is being beamed out by the microwave transceiver on top of this. So we don't have to use the little solar power generators or anything else really to get this going. We'll be able to finally be self-sufficient, turn on all of our facilities, make sure everything is working properly. All right, Frandy Kerman jumps out. Actually, what we should do at this point is, this is a place where we are going to need, if I'm not mistaken, one of our Kerbals to stay here on a relatively permanent basis. So we have Katie and Calgal are our builders, so Jorzy should jump out and be our power station engineer. So actually, hold on. It looks like you've got a wrench in hand, so Well, that should be fine. Hopefully all the pieces that I'm going to be dealing with here have inventory space. So let's take a little run around and see what we have going on. So we have over on this side the logistics center that we'll be using to push and pull the resources that we need, because this does in fact do a little bit of digging. This location has uraninite, for example, that we will be able to centrifuge. Here's our power transceiver. Nothing to do with that one quite yet. Same thing with the reactor. We have a habitat on this side, as well as two of these extendable habitat modules that we are going to deploy using a whole bunch of material kits. Fabulous. There should be plenty of material kits hanging out and about, so that we don't have to worry about that. Let's get past it. Okay, deploy. Hab Common and Hab Bay, whatever you want to call it. Hab Common and Hab Quarters, that's right. Okay, so yeah, this is our nuclear fuel plant, and next to a power distribution unit. On the bottom here, we actually have a tank that we can use to hold onto, I believe that's where the uranium goes. I'm not 100% certain, but we will take a look at that in a moment. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be manually deployed, so let's get back around to the other side and get in this thing. Alright, we have transferred our crew into the power distribution unit, so let's take a look at what we've got going on here. We can start this reactor. Do we have... Aha, we have a bunch of these, so we're going to toggle the ground tether, make sure that's on. Now we're going to activate our radiators to make sure that this thing can cool itself down. I found these ground pipes, these Ranger thermal control systems, are actually very, very effective on the ground here. So we can now start this reactor, and now we have power, and the load is spiking. Wow, we must be charging everything in range. Thermal efficiency. Okay, load is back down. Looks like we've got all the batteries nice and full. So that's good. That's a very good thing. We had to spend a lot of electricity to get everything set up, but now it looks like we are... everything seems to be working okay. It says here, power coupler, 2 PDUs, range is 2,000 meters. So that should cover these two base facilities over here. So let me just give the last little bit of a run through. So we have deploy, deploy, and deploy. And this is going to contain our ore. Looks like we do have an ore thing, so we can actually pull in the ore from all the various little bits and pieces here. So power station from the Geo Rover. Give me... not ore, I guess. Okay, fine. Material kits. It's also fine. Take the ore from the do-it-yourself tug probe so we can destroy it. And also take the ore from the supply crawler. We don't need that in there. Okay, neat. So that's that. So we have storage facilities. Fantastic. We also have a small cupola here to help aid in the habitability of this vessel. We are going to extend our antenna dish to allow people to communicate home, deploy some lights. Beautiful, fantastic. Our nuclear fuel plant we can use to centrifuge, so we can actually start our very first what do you call it? We can start our very first process, our converter. These are missing machinery, so we are going to have to bring over our that giant thing of machinery to get everything filled up. So we will do that in just a moment, but I can start this habitat that does not need machinery. Very nice. Kerbitat does not have enough crew, so it's not commanded. That's probably fine. Yeah, and so let's take a look around a little bit. That's this base. That's the power facility. Next up, we're building the refinery, which we will use to refine a lot of our resources and make a lot of our like the metals and polymers and that sort of thing that we will need to make material kits and everything else going forward. So that is the next thing that we will build, if only because it's right here and very handy. So let's take a look at our other base facilities to make sure that everything is working the way we want it to. Alright, so we're down here in the botany lab, and I'm looking at this. The power coupler is coupled to 3 PDUs, and it looks like we are maxed out now on electric charge. And oh, look at that. We actually haven't opened up all these, so we'll do that in a moment. Or we can do that now. Like, we weren't really able to do that before, but now we actually have the capability of opening up all of our... turning on all of our habitats and everything else. So start habitat, 100% load. Yeah, it looks like it's drawing power from the main vessel, the main power unit. And the same thing should be true over here at Duna Central. We can see this connected to 3 PDUs. So one, I have to assume 2 over there at the, gosh, what else? What would be 3? So it's 1, 2, and then power station? Maybe? Something like that? I don't know. It's not important. The important thing is our power network seems to be functioning. Alright, so we've also transferred all of the material kits out of this and all the ore and monopropellant out of this. So these 2 things can be blown up, which we will skip. Alright, both vessels have been disassembled, and we are now assembling the last of our do-it-yourself kits at this location. After that, we just have one more little area, well, 2 more little areas, actually, of things to build, and then we will be ready to, you know, actually roll with this base. We'll be pretty close to done here. That's pretty exciting. Alright, after saving our game, the next thing that we need to do is move over all of this wonderful machinery to the next location where we are building stuff, because we need to actually get things turned on. So, there, let's make sure everything's on and working correctly. We want to anchor, we want to stop our horizontal velocity using TCA. We also want to use auto throttle. So let's increase our altitude. Why is this not flying? I have plenty of ore. I don't understand why this isn't working. Okay, so as a cautionary tale, I bring you back to the vehicle assembly building, where I have discovered that torch drives no longer use ore. I can't even remember when I ran an update on this. I can't remember the last time I ran an update on my MKS install. So I'm having a hard time remembering when this might have happened or what update this must have been, but one of the recent updates to MKS must have changed the usage of ore in torch drives to the usage of water. So none of my ships work now because I screwed up. So I'm either going to have to roll back my install of MKS to a previous version where they used ore again, or I'm going to have to just not have any of my ships, my current ships, be functional. I guess I'm going to have to take a look and investigate to see what ships I have flying that are using torch drives out of everything that I have right now, because my candle cranes will absolutely not work. In no way do they work now. They all have ore tanks. Ore tanks can't even be changed into water tanks, because as you can see, they need the fluid container version instead of these flat, solid containers. So, yeah. But entirely my fault, so I'll have to investigate this at a later time, I think. Okay, so despite that issue of the my candle crane's not working, I don't actually need it, now that I think about it, to transfer materials back and forth. So what I think I'm going to do is, instead of worry about breaking my install by rolling back and forward with the different versions, I'm just gonna deal unless I find something that is absolutely going to destroy stuff. But I think pretty much everything that I really need is kind of here already. And so I can just say, all right, the engines on the torch drive were damaged in the final descent, so it is now no longer functional. So, like, whatever. Like, I can just destroy this and not have to worry about it. I can carry things around with this from now on. This has, you know, lived out its usefulness and has done what it needed to do, and that's wonderful and fantastic, but no longer necessary. So, that's an option. I'm also thinking that it wouldn't be a bad idea to kind of rebuild this in, you know, a way that's a little bit friendlier. And now that we actually are going to have resupply capabilities, we could probably just go ahead and use regular engines like swivels and things like that, because they have decent enough ISP and we'd be able to resupply here on the planet. So we might do something like that. So there's going to be a little bit of change in the infrastructure that we're using rather than this. Right. I've forgotten for about the 18,000th time that machinery cannot be transferred this way. I know that. I knew that. Of course I knew that. It's almost as if I've been so busy I can't actually remember how things work. Sigh. But it's fine. We can actually run a pipe between the two and transfer that. Alright, so we got that linked up. Very nice. So, I do have control, right? Yes, I do. So now what I can just do is just transfer stuff over. So the machinery goes into one of these. Pretty sure. Yes, here we are. And transfer out. And then we can steal half of the machinery that we have in this thing, and we can just cart that around. And that should be enough, hopefully, to make sure that we get everything assembled and built on our various station facilities. So as that finishes up, we are going to cart this over back to the other base and other base facilities. We are going to get that machinery set up, and then we are going to continue on with our construction. But I think that does it for me for this episode. We are all out of time. If you enjoyed this one, please share and subscribe. I'm gonna hope to get a chance to make more videos as time goes on, but like I mentioned at the beginning, things have been pretty darn crazy, so we'll see how that goes. No promises, unfortunately, but I will finish things out. I'm not going to disappear, just things may be a little bit slower. I'll see you next time.